So we've got something in the human psyche that is extremely disturbing, that leads directly to the libido, right? Is in fact the libido, and implies this hunger or this appetite. And when we break it down, the scary part of it is that most people on planet Earth here in this plane of existence are in fact primal. You know, we could slur people and put people down, but I guess a couple of things that I posted up best encapsulate this, so I'd like to highlight these, and that's basically what this is about. And then maybe go on a little walk soon after. But here's a post. Oftentimes I will edit it. I will initially post header, and then I will further do a little bit more deeper diver research into something, or just wanting to get into these deep intrinsic explanations like this post down here that I'll read as well. But this one will be pretty quickly disseminated here, and that is just again about human appetite, what drives us, this sort of psycho drive, if you will. Let me grab my tea. And the fact that most people are functioning off a primal state of reactivity by way of the limbic system and the amygdala, and that this is the essence of what MK Ultra is doing. This is really what that's all about. But we're going to go in and read this. So let's read this first statement. They're not omniscient gods. They just develop the roads you travel on. Choice. So in summary, my statement here, this declarative statement is, they didn't create you, nor do they dictate your will, but they want you to err under your own will. What they did was build frameworks. And though these frameworks seem complex, you know, when we get into the matrix and this idea of, wow, these are some diabolical motherfuckers, you know, from Satanism, child trafficking, and then you see it implicit in your own family members, right? In your own lineage, in the people around you. You see it rear its head, right? And you begin to wonder, wow, is there any escape? Because we live in this delusional state where we idealize, right? We idolize and idealize a state. Is it that much different than Zionists, right? Where there is this heaven of people, like-minded people, and we are going to eventually transcend this state of this Ouroboros or samsara, and go beyond this mere earthly plane, and finally meet up with those like-minded individuals that are our heaven, right? But then you're implicit in the capping of your own development, right? When is there enough? And this gets into the Garden of Eden. It's like, when is it enough? So I'll go on with this. They didn't create you, nor do they dictate your will. What they did was build frameworks, channels, roads that guide how choices present themselves. Roads make travel possible, but don't determine where you end up. So, you know, this leads directly into ley lines, or Lee lines as they're pronounced, torsion field energies, right? And we even have talked to length, written many articles, in fact, on Esoteric Principles of Light. If you want to go there, we've got the world watching, right? But you can just go on either the fitness blog. There's lots of useful information there. Rogue Beast Warrior, RBW, right? The rbw.blogspot.com, and then we have Esoteric Principles of Light.blogspot.com. So there's about, gosh, was there 13 years of information? So their power isn't divine, here we read on, in an ultimate sense. It's architectural. They lay down probabilities, condition behaviors, and construct environments. You still move by choice, but the directions available are shaped by their design, right? So if you really want to expound upon this, you could listen to, because now that I'm reflecting back on this, this really harkens to a lot of the things that Crow 777 has been talking about, CRROW, on his channel. I absolutely do not mirror Crow 777, nor am I getting insight from him. In fact, the strange thing here, the strange alliance is that I'll wake up with ideas, and then later on that day or sometime around then, I'll just haphazardly happen to look up what other people are posting, and there seems to be this shared mind, right? So you start to wonder if breaking free from the construct is the goal, and if it's not this amassment or this use field environment, right? A shared field environment of energetics, where certain people ultimately work to a specific end, right? And so here, this gets into this very complex tapestry here, which I'm laying out here. And I really wanted to highlight, I really wanted to read this, so we're going to go ahead and do that here. So, and I'm going to do it, I'm going to read it without any explanations, right? Splaining. We're just going to read it all the way through. So at the end of each day, we teeter on the thin edge of survival, balanced on the promise of one man's violence standing superior at the gate of another's challenger. All that endures only by the violence it can summon and wield. Every act born into life is violence. To breathe, to move, to speak, to impose will upon the cast of reality before you, is already to defy it, to erase it, to refute what stands before you. Existence itself is a violent trespass. The truth is etched into our very flesh. We are hosts to billions of organisms, microscopic armies, locked in endless slaughter, killing one another through apoptosis, reducing life to ashes in order to preserve the fragile illusion of health. We are walking theaters of war. Even our thoughts arise in violence, splinters of sub-thoughts, eruptions of appetite. Each impulse lashes into being by the tyranny and the unquenchable glance. Desire is the whip that drives us forward, and from its blows, consciousness itself is propagated. Thus, man has only two fates: to stand as killer, brute, and destroyer, at the ready, teeth bared, or to wither as a docile deformity, a malformed echo of anthropological waste. Those who fail to meet violence with violence are buried in silence, folded back into the soil, lost among the ashes of archived dirt. The game afoot spares no victims. It only selects those violent enough to remain. Then enters the witch, who first reduces her opponents, dissolves them, conjures the enzymes by which she may absorb their essence. Her craft is the primal rehearsal of what the Übermensch must become. For the Übermensch, or Messiah, is not merely one who survives violence, but one who refines it, who evolves it into the unapologetic power of absorption. He is the storm that integrates, devours, transmutes. He ingests all opposing proclamations of energy, knowing, as the Morai know, that fate is not chosen but forged, hammered into being by unseen, unhinged tempests of original Stoic brutality. It is here where Marcus Aurelius may be imagined bathing in young Faustina's blood, not as cruelty nor as ritual, but as a measure beyond human comprehension, a testament to the calculus of necessity. And it really, amalgamating Faustina's blood is the lover, right? That he supposedly killed and bathed in the blood there. So just to clarify that I'm encapsulating and amalgamating that into one thought transition. Society recoils from this refinement of man. It reduces him not because he lacks clarity, but because his appetite for endless absorption terrifies. For he is no longer cleric, no longer clarified, but a devourer, stripping away the superfluous, every man, every creed, every structure outside of himself. He absorbs and contends, balances and destroys, until even the scales of justice warped beneath the weight. What remains is the broadening path, carved not for his peers, but for his behemoth, unfathomable son, the future born from violence distilled, an heir of storms, the child of absorption, who carries forward the brutality of gods. So that's pretty deep, and that's really what I woke up with this morning. Now we're going to go back and reflect on a few potential highlighted videos that I was noticing here. This is one that came to mind, and I may play a quick snippet of this. In fact, I'm not going to. I'm just going to kind of use this to parody off of, and I'm going to say, here, the rapper murdered by the Illuminati, the mysterious death of, I don't know who it is, Mob Deep. But the statement defines itself. And that is, when we're getting into this lower rungs of brutality, you have the rules that are established in the sandbox, the primal rules that really could be identified more like Lord of the Flies, right? Where this unsophisticated measure, which really is how the government functions today, right? But this unsophisticated measure, hearkening back to exactly what I just read, it bolsters, right? The boon is not a boon at all. It's the entrapment back into samsara and back into the Ouroboros, and the people who basically live by this method die by that method as well. And they are returned back into it.